Thank you for listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. This is Nicole, and today I have a guest. Please take a moment to introduce yourself.
Hi, Nicole. Well, first, I'd like to thank you, before I introduce myself, I'd like to thank you for having me on your show, and I am so proud of what you have accomplished and what you have done. That's the first thing I wanted to get off my chest.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I am Bobbie Cubbage. I am a wife, sister, daughter, friend, teacher, writer, author, podcaster, entrepreneur. Nicole and I have known each other for years, as far back as college. We're not going to tell you how long ago that was because we don't want anybody to try to guess how old we are.
Right?
So that's pretty much me in a nutshell, pretty much.
All right. And one of the things that I was so impressed by, you, just what you have accomplished over the years, the fact that, number one, first and foremost, faith. You are a woman of God. I got to learn a bit more about Bobbie in terms of her faith because I knew her as a college student, and she knew me as a college student. And back in those days, I was not the least bit saved, sanctified, Holy Spirit filled. But then over time, when we caught up and started talking about different things, and she interviewed me for Know Your Enemy, the Christian's Critic, I was just like, okay, Bobbie is on that trip too. Yes, and then to find out that she was an educator, I mean, such an essential job. I mean, just the fact that, working with children and being an integral part of their lives like she is. I mean, we value our teachers. We appreciate our teachers, maybe not enough, but definitely just a wonderful human being. And then her husband having the podcast. At that time, you all were on Blog Talk Radio, right? And are you still on?
Still on.
Okay.
Still there, yes. Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
She's going to also give that information at the end of the interview, so you all, because I know some of you all are very much in tune to the podcast and radio, she'll give a plug for those places where she's at so that, we can show support. First question, Bobbie, with so much occurring nowadays in media, from the highs and lows with the elections, COVID-19, BLM, and other topics, how have you stayed positive?
Well, the first thing, I should say about that, the main thing is I always lean on my faith. Faith in God, faith that He will bring us through, us as, a people, us as a human race, just learning and knowing about God and just always having faith. I've learned a lot, of course, during this pandemic, faith in the human spirit, knowing things don't have to be this way, faith that God will bring us through all and any storm, and just having an overwhelming spirit of joy. Joy is something that no one on earth gave. No one on earth gives you the joy. So I already know that no one on earth gave me this joy, and no one but God. He's the one who gave it, and He would be the only one that could take it away. So just leaning on my faith, leaning on God, knowing that we as a human race, we don't have to deal with the current things that are going on. We've been through it throughout history. My parents, they were, of course, in the 60s, mm-hmm. going through all of the marches and all of that crazy stuff that was going on back then, civil unrest and all that. And of course, now we've got all of that, the pandemic, civil unrest, we've got unemployment that's going crazy. And sitting and talking with my parents, and, asking them about the, tell me a little bit about, the civil unrest in the 60s. What do you see that's different from then up until now?
Right.
And my dad gave a wonderful point of, he says, back in the 60s, it was just us, just African Americans, maybe a few Caucasians that were, involved with that. He said, but looking at all of the protests, the peaceful protests that are going on around America and around the world, it's not just African Americans that are doing it. It's not just Caucasians that are doing it. It's a beautiful array of people that are coming together on one note, and they truly, truly want to see change. So just hearing that and leaning, like I said, leaning on my faith, you can't help but to stay positive.
Right, absolutely. How long have you been a believer, and how did you come to know Christ?
Well, I feel like I've always known Christ,
Mm-hmm.
even as a little knucklehead back in the day. But I came to truly realize who Christ was when I was about 10 or 11. I was, of course, grew up in the church, parents, grandparents always took me to church. I was there all the time. And I was baptized when I was 12. And what was so amazing at the church that I grew up in, Baptist Temple Church in Pittsburgh, PA,
Yes.
we to be baptized, you of course had to give verbal acceptance of Christ and that you knew him. And then, of course, the second part would be full submersion into the water. So, you're fully, not the little sprinkle thing. You were getting all the way dunked, all the way dunked in.
Exactly.
And, I tell you, the reverend that baptized me, the late, great Reverend Williams, who was probably, 75, 80, some odd years, maybe even older at the time, I was the last person that he baptized before he passed, if you could believe that.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing. And I have to tell you, he had quite a record throughout Pittsburgh, because in all of his years of pastoring and baptizing people, he had never dropped anyone while baptizing. But because of myself and being curious and not really knowing what was going to happen, being dunked in the water and all this stuff, I almost blew up his record.
Oh, no.
I almost blew it up. My grandmother, my late grandmother, who was, of course, the whole family's there, and we're watching this, and we're going through this. And, they have the boys go first, youngest to oldest, and the two of my cousins, they went first. My younger sister and I, we get up there and we do our thing, and he gets to me, and for some reason I'm as stiff as a board. I'm not loose. I'm just nervous. And my grandmother said, Reverend Williams almost dropped you. And I said, oh, really? I didn't even know it.
Right.
He said, you were so stiff. I just don't know what was wrong. And I said, I don't know. I didn't know about being dunked backwards. I guess that's what the problem was. I don't know.
Exactly, right? Oh, my goodness.
But God bless him. God bless him. He had to take an extra step back to try to kind of overcompensate from what I was doing, I guess. So, so it's always a funny family, memory to look back on and laugh.
Right? Oh, my goodness. Now, Baptist Temple, is this Baptist Temple the one on Race Street in Pittsburgh?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Just so you know, listeners, if you're in the Pittsburgh area or if you are from Pittsburgh, Bobbie is referring to Baptist Temple Church on 7241 Race Street. Okay.
That's it. Corner of Race and Sterrett.
And,
yes.
and the website is baptisttemple.church. That is the website, just so you know.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we got to give a plug for the churches.
That's right, absolutely. And I can also give a plug to the church where Sam and I belong to now, which is in Sharpsburg. So, of course, we moved on another side of town, and we go to a church in Sharpsburg called Mount Olive Baptist Church.
Okay.
So it's beautiful, another tiny little Baptist church. Reverend Curtis Jones is the pastor. Lovely place, lovely people, just a tiny little congregation, and it's all good.
Okay. And is that and that church is on 1020 Main Street?
That's it. That's it.
All right. So anybody who is in the area, you got two places that you can just fellowship and just enjoy the presence of the Lord.
That is correct. That's right.
Next question. What do you find challenging when it comes to having a personal faith?
Believe it or not much, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really challenging. If something is worth it to you, you're going to work at it. You know what I mean? So my personal faith is important to me. And so I work at it. I pray all the time. If I'm standing around, doing nothing, just being quiet, I'm praying in my head. I'm praying in the car. I'm praying, I'm always praying, reading the Bible, reading religious materials, trying to learn more and more about, more and more about God, more and more about what we need to be doing, what I need to be doing. And, so again, I don't really find it challenging, again, as long as it's worth it
mm-hmm.
to you, I don't think that it's too challenging. I hope it's not too challenging.
Right. How might you uplift a believer who is feeling the weight of the world right now?
Well, what I would do? I would direct them to a couple of verses, of course, in the Bible. One would be Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. And, right there, that is the epitome of faith, to try to believe in something that you can't see and that you can't physically put your hands on. But you just have to have that faith to believe that things are going to work out. If you continue to pray and be faithful and just to do everything you possibly need to do. And I know that's hard. I know that it's challenging for some people. But again, if it's worth it to you, you'll do it. Just like people, if you work out and you want to make sure your body's looking right, you'll do that. You'll get up early or stay up late, or you'll lift weights, you'll run, you'll do whatever it is you need to do to keep your body right. The same thing with your health. You're going to the doctor, you're doing this, you're doing that. So again, if it's worth it to you, that's what you're going to do. And also, I would also say 46 Psalm 10, and that's be still and know that I am God. That's all you have to do, is you just be still. And it's actually very interesting because we sing that verse with the preschoolers that I work with all the time. That's one of our little songs, be still and know that I am God. And that's all you need to do. Just be still. So, sometimes, we as humans, we're just moving around too much, just doing too much. And once you realize that you've done all you can do, all you need to do is just sit still and let God do what he's going to do. You don't do something and say, okay, I'm going to give it to God. And then, now I'm going to do this, I'm doing this. You're not really giving it to God. You're giving it to God, then you're turning around and you're taking it back. You know, okay, I'm going to give
Right.
it to God, but I'm going to do this. No, you said you're going to give it to God. Give it to God and be still.
Ooh,
And he will move in your favor.
yes.
You know, that's it. That's it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, if anybody didn't check some of the audios out in the past like year or so, Bobbie just caught you up, because that's what I was telling some people. And so it's so nice to hear somebody else say it. Yes, be still. My common phrase that I go to is something when I'm recording the audio. I'll tell people, sit still quiet long enough so that God can speak to you. You know, just can you just do that? You know, because once he starts speaking to you, then that's when you start getting the answers to prayer. Because I'll get some people who come through and say, well, God didn't answer that prayer, or what you said, you know, in the audio or whatever. But there's scripture right there. Bobbie said it, you know, she confirmed it, right? God confirmed it. So if you just stop, like you said, just stop moving and sit still, be quiet so that God can speak. Yes.
That's exactly right.
I noticed that you find some solace in cooking. Can you share your latest work for us?
Absolutely. Well, my latest work is called Cooking Fun with Mrs. Cubbage. It's more of a family cookbook, I'd like to say. My hope is that those who have purchased it or, you know, will purchase it will share it with their children. All of these recipes have been tested on my students from ages 3 up to 12 years old. These recipes all can be done, you know, in a pot, in a skillet. Everything is mainly on the stove top or just the tabletop. You know, they could, you know, do the cutting. Like I have a couple of recipes, well, all of the recipes where the kids could cut, you know, you're cutting different vegetables, and they could learn early some of the kitchen skills that are, you know, really necessary for them. You know, I think, you know, kitchen skills and just domestic skills are something good for boys and girls, you know, to use. It's usually, of course, the girls that'll come to my classes, but I welcome the boys. I'm thrilled to see the boys because, you know, these cooking skills are things that they need to know as well. Because, you know, I'm sure they're, you know, I don't need to cook. Mom cooks for me, or Dad cooks for me, or, you know, this one cooks for me. And, you know, when I get older, I'll get married and she'll cook for me. But, you know, there'll be some years there in between where you're not with Mom and Dad and you're not married, and, you know, hitting the drive-through might not, you know, every day might not be, you know, healthy or even economically right. So, you know, it might be a good idea to learn, you know, some basic cooking skills so you can put together, you know, at least a little something tasty in the kitchen.
Exactly. I looked at your recipe book, and one of the recipes that jumped out at me was easy homemade salsa. And I mean, it is truly easy. And with so many parents still working while older children are at home by themselves, you know, due to the remote learning, these are the types of recipes that are really simple to just whip up in the kitchen. And have everything nice and clean and tidy by the time parents get home from work. Some of the, like, just to give the listeners some idea, and I don't mean to make people's mouth water a bit, but with her easy homemade salsa, she lists the ingredients for you, such as the fresh tomatoes, fresh cilantro. Notice she does indicate and emphasize fresh.
Preferably,
right? And so, you know,
I understand.
right. And then, she lists all of the ingredients up front. So it makes it very easy to put your grocery list together. And then she has the directions that follow the ingredients. And the directions are even very simple. Just to give the listeners an example, chop all of the vegetables and put them into a large bowl. Combine garlic, onion, half a teaspoon of salt. So she makes it very simple. It's not like some of the recipe books that are out there where there's the cooking verbiage such as saute, toss, all of that type of toss is in there, but you know what toss means. But then there are those other words in the cooking world that some folks are just like, okay, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to look it up. But her cookbook is not like that. So rest easy. And it can be found. Do you want to just state where your cookbook can be found?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find, it depends because, there are some people who are particular. So there's a lot of different versions and a lot of different ways you can get it. You can find the hardback edition of Cooking Fun with Mrs. Cubbage on lulu.com. That's LULU.com. The paperback edition is available on betterhomesandgardens.com, marthastewart.com, eBay, Goodreads, parenting.com, and amazon.com. It's also available on Kindle. Some people might not want to, have the book form, so they do have it available on Kindle. Now, if you subscribe to Kindle, you can get the book for free. But if you have a Kindle and you are not a subscriber to Kindle, you can still download it, onto your Kindle for a cost. You can also contact us on www.pandemicpp.com, and we can certainly get a copy out to you.
All right. Can you give us just a couple of your simplest recipes that are your favorites?
Well, I have to, of course, in preparation for our talk, I was thinking about, which ones would be fun, I guess, to bring up, especially with the kids. Now, of course, we're getting into the holidays,
right?
And the kids, and of course, we've passed by Halloween, one of the favorite holidays of the kids because of the candy that they get, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a great way to kind of, I hate to say get rid of the candy, but, kind of get rid of the candy.
Yeah.
You can take your leftover candy and pop some popcorn and create what I call trash can popcorn.
Okay.
The kids love it. All you have to do is either pop a bag of, the microwave popcorn, or you could bust out the little pot and pop popcorn in a pot, whatever you want to do. Get your popcorn and just let the kids, especially the younger ones, they love to do this, is break up cookies or candy or, put some sprinkles in there. And then you can melt some chocolate and just kind of drizzle the chocolate on there. You don't have to you don't have to just dump the whole thing in there. Just a little bit of chocolate to kind of, gel it all together and set it aside for a little bit, let it cool. And it is fun to make. It is terribly sinful.
Right, because I was thinking about calories, but this is for the kids. It's for the kids.
It's for the kids, not for us. We can take a little taste.
Just a little taste.
Just a little bit. But what I do suggest, though, is don't let them eat too much of it.
I know, because they're going to be bouncing off the walls and somebody gonna send me a message and say, that was a good recipe, but you didn't tell me about the how crazy the kids was gonna act afterwards.
Like they're gonna be a little bit insane with that.
No, but it sounds fun. Yeah, I mean, some of my younger audience that comes through here, yeah, they'll be excited. I'm not going to give away all the details in her book, but I will say that Rice Krispie Bites on a Stick, that is awesome. And then, because one of the things I hated about eating Rice Krispies when I was younger was the marshmallows sticking to my fingers. I was one of those kids that I just did not like too much on my fingers. So for people who they don't, they just want to pop it in their mouth and they don't want to, have their fingers all, sticky. The way she explains how to put these Rice Krispie treats together is so simple. You gotta get the book though, because and it's a simple read. It's easy. It's not long. You can practically memorize all of the recipes within an hour or two. You're ready to rock and roll and get in that kitchen.
That's right. Get them in that kitchen. Get them in there,
Exactly.
And get them learning. Learning. That's what it's all about. Let them see what that, and that's the funny thing about kids. They may not really want to know how every apparatus in the kitchen works. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But they do really and truly want to learn. So, if they're, peeking around the corner while you're in the kitchen doing something, and especially if it's not too complicated, invite them in, let them see what to do. Okay, well, this is the way you have to hold the pot. Well, that's one thing they love to, like, okay, no, I don't want to touch the pot. No, hold the handle of the pot, and you can go ahead and use your other hand, and you can pour the rice or pour the whatever it is you're making. And, just give them a little bit of confidence, each time. And each time they're like, oh, okay. And then eventually they're going to be like, Mom, Dad, you know what? Move out of the kitchen. I got it. I got this.
Right.
And that's,
Do you have any other suggestions in terms of getting some of these children into the kitchen who tend to be so apprehensive for any number of reasons? Maybe they're just going through their teenage rebellion, or maybe it's because one of their teachers in the family was pretty strict. I know the teachers in my family were pretty strict about how things were in the kitchen. So that's what kind of made me just not really want to go all out when I was younger. I didn't start really going all in with cooking for myself and my family until I was well into adulthood and, away from, relatives. So could you just offer some suggestions on what parents could do to get them to cook?
Absolutely. Well, actually, one of the things I like to do, especially with my students, is at the end of, because we'll have these different, like 6-week or 8-week classes. So they could, come in once a week and they could do this and that and the other. And on the last class, I will choose, like maybe a special dessert or something, that we could do together. But before the last class is over, I ask, tell me what was hard in this class, and I'm like, I want you to tell me what was hard, what was easy, and what was the most fun. And then I kind of, okay, maybe I might want to take out the trash can popcorn, or maybe I won't do this, or, oh, they really did like the salsa, so I'll keep that in. And the suggestion I would give to parents who have apprehensive children is, one of the things I would do is do their have them try with you to make their favorite meal, something that they like to eat. Okay, they might say, oh, well, I really, really like, I don't know, spaghetti and meatballs, and let them come in, see what it is, like, okay, you see spaghetti and meatballs after it's all done and it's all prepared and it looks good and it smells delicious, but you don't really know what the steps are that go into it. Mm-hmm. So invite them into the kitchen. We are going to make your favorite dinner, spaghetti and meatballs today, and this is what I want you to do. And, you can give them one of the easier things to do, like maybe they could stand by the pot, you could stand by the pot and watch the noodles cook up. You could watch the noodles cook. Maybe the next time you have it, the next time you have pasta in a month or two or something, okay, you know what? You like the meatballs. I know how much you like the meatballs. We need this, this, and this. And they can gather those things, in the kitchen. Let them gather everything. And, okay, now that you have this, this, and this, now we're going to get a bowl, and we're going to put all this in, and I want you to put your hands in it. I want you to put your hands in it and see what it's like. And the more and more they get comfortable, and the more and more they just get that opportunity to try and to learn, instead of somebody breathing down their back saying, no, you can't. You kind of have to be open to allowing them to make their mistakes. They can make some mistakes. Of course, you could always have some extra stuff on the side in case they mess up. Right. But give them a little bit, and give them the opportunity to try. If they mess up, that's okay. Don't get upset about it. It's fine. We have a little more over here, and here, try it this way. And that way, that'll help them. That'll build their confidence up until they finally get it right.
Okay, exactly. Now, sometimes people shy away from recipes because they forget items. They can't find them. Some ingredients cost too much. When it comes to shopping for recipes, do you have any tips that can make the trip less burdensome?
Yes, actually, the best thing to do is and especially, I'm sure probably everyone has done it now with COVID and trying to stay out of public as much as you can. But before COVID, the best thing that I ever did was to download our favorite grocery store app onto our smartphone, and then as you need as you're thinking, like, oh, I think I want, spaghetti and meatballs this weekend. Mm-hmm. And then you go ahead and start plugging in, okay, I need a box of the whole wheat pasta. I need, ground turkey. I need this. I need that. Mm-hmm. And you just start plugging those things in, and you already have your list prepared and ready to go whenever you get to the store, or do your pickup, or however it is that you're shopping right now. Mm-hmm. Also, a really good app to have. There are so many, but they're like different notes, different note apps. And when we are able to go back into the stores the way we want to, have any one of those notes apps. I've had several of them on my phone, and they all work great. You could download them for free. Just search whichever one you like the best, and just start keeping track on your phone. I need whole wheat pasta. I need ground turkey. I need cilantro. I need this. I need that, and just plug that information in just as you're thinking about it. You could be watching TV. You could be, doing your laundry. Oh, wait a minute. I need whole wheat pasta, and just plug that into your phone. Makes it so much easier instead of writing a note over here and writing a list over here, and you forgot that list. I mean, I've done that so many times. Like, oh man,
I'm one of those. Like, I have even gotten one of those little whiteboards for my refrigerator, right? But then I hadn't thought about it. I'm like, you know what? You got that, but then you can't carry that into the store. So
That's true.
So, that was dumb. So I ended up...
It wasn't dumb. It was good. It was a good idea. It was not dumb.
She's a teacher.
That's right. It was not dumb. I love it.
See? That right there was an example of a positive teacher. Like, no, I'm not going to go there with you, okay?
No. That's right. That's right. You can always use it. You can keep your notes on the whiteboard, and then later when you think about it, you could go right to the whiteboard and start plugging in that information.
Right.
You're good.
Or I can snap a picture of it, because that's what a lot of folks now are telling me to, like when I'm out there and I'm getting instructions and stuff like that. They're like, you know what? You don't need to get a piece of paper or anything. Just snap a picture.
That's a good idea. I always forget to do that.
That's why we didn't grow up with the kind of technology that these young people grew up with, because they laugh at us. They laugh at us when we come. They say you make things so difficult. You don't have to text, really. I'm like, no, just speak into the microphone on your phone.
That's right.
I'm like, yeah, that's right. Yep, exactly. So when you talked about notes, I was like, yeah, I could just bring up the microphone and just speak my notes into the microphone from your cookbook. I won't even have to write them down.
That's right. Won't even have to worry about it.
Right? Anything that makes life easier. And I'll tell you, that's why I appreciate that book, because I'm like, yes, she said she has everything just so simple. I'm telling you, you guys, you got to get this book. It's so simple to read, and, like she suggested, you get the note app, and then, of course, like I mentioned, the microphone, and you just speak the words into, your device, and you have all of your ingredients, and then you're able to do your shopping for your recipes, especially with this holiday season coming up.
Yes.
Now, being that this is your first book, right? Or is there another book out there I don't know about?
I have two self-published books that are also on Amazon, but I'm going to rework them.
Oh, okay.
That's my job. We're going to rework them to redo.
Okay, that's
but
all
it's all
right.
good,
Right?
It's all good.
I got some that I would like to rework, but no, I'm going to leave them alone. I got too many other things. Yeah, I'm just going to leave them alone. Deal with the grammatical errors and the space issues, because I got other work I got to do.
Amen.
Which leads me to this question, Bobbie. What have you loved the most about the book creation process, and what have you liked the least?
Well, that's so funny that you bring up the whole, editing issues and spacing.
Yeah, because I've got listeners who want to do what we have done. They want a self-published book. So this is why I thought, let me just squeeze this in before we close out this message.
Yes. Well, I will say the best thing about the book creation process is that over this, during this pandemic, Sam and I decided to come up with our own publishing company, our own book publishing company, Pandemic Press Publishing, obviously, because of the pandemic.
And just so you know, I have to stop you, Bobbie. Listener, Sam is her husband. Okay, just FYI.
FYI, that's right. Absolutely. That's right. We get in trouble if we don't say who he is. That's right. But, we were able to, put the, publishing company together, and, we were able to bring out my cookbook, as well as we have another artist that was on our, in our publishing company as well. So we were able to bring out his book as well. Mm-hmm. So that's Alonzo S. Whitehead, and his book is Are You Listening? The Thoughts of a Traveling Soul. Also very, very deep poems, kind of like a spoken word type of thing, all about what's going on right now in the world today. But most of it, he told us.
We got to get him on then. We got to talk to him too. Yes.
Yes, he also said that the majority of these poems he wrote in the 70s. So what's that? And it's still relevant today. So what's that tell you?
Wow. That says a whole lot. If we got the same issues from the 1970s even now, oh, Lord, we got a lot of work to do.
We got a lot of work to do. So, he wrote this book. It's fantastic. But again, that's one of the best things about the creative process is to be able to, being able to have your own company, and then you can work on your own stuff and then bring somebody else up with it. And this was his very first published piece. So, we were very happy and excited to be able to help him, through that process. Yes. And again, like we said, the worst part, of course, is finding those little errors after the fact and having to fix those errors and try to, okay, wait, stop the publishing right there on that. Wait, let me just redo it. Redo it real quick.
Yes.
But we're, but all in all, it's been fun and an amazing opportunity, and, we're thrilled about it, even with all of the errors that we find later.
Right. I hear you. I'm right there with you. Yes. So there are listeners, Bobbie, who are seeking a bit of inspiration when it comes to what God has called them to do in their lives, like create art, write books, like we talked about, invent products, etc. Do you mind sharing some words of encouragement for those who just haven't gotten started, but they know they should be doing something?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing I want to say is that trouble won't last always. That's the first thing. Being a believer and being a strong believer, even if you're not a strong believer,
right.
If you are a believer, if you are, you're just, looking for something else, looking for something new, what you're doing isn't working. Just remember, trouble won't last always. It won't. Look at what we just learned yesterday. We are about to embark on fixing the mess that was created over the past 4 years. I'm sorry to offend, if there's someone that we might be offending, I'm sorry, but it's been a mess. And there was trouble. There was a lot, like we said, the pandemic. Now, of course, he didn't create the pandemic, but unfortunately didn't work very hard at trying to do anything about it, He didn't cause racism, but didn't really do anything about trying to stop the racism and the horrible things that were coming up. The unemployment. He didn't cause unemployment. I know that. But, so all of these crazy things that happened, mostly just in the past 8 to 9 months. But, he didn't create these things initially, but he didn't really help to try to, put out the flame. And as you can see, we are about to embark on fixing these things. These things aren't going to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Right. The new administration coming in isn't perfect, but we need to stand behind them. But what you have to remember is that you just have to push through the storms that you're going through. God gives his best soldiers the toughest tests. And your test becomes a testimony. It always does. Your mess becomes a message. Stay strong. You can do it. Always remember that. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing bad and horrible. God doesn't want you to live in fear. He doesn't want you to hate. Love always trumps hate. And once you know that in your soul, once that's in your soul and in your spirit, you can make it through anything.
Right. Yes. That is powerful. Someone, that's a takeaway. Like she said, I mean, there no trying to, we're not offending anyone. We're just speaking what we know to be true during these tough times. That's why the messages of unity and peace and love and hope have come back to the forefront, because we were all headed down that path, especially as believers, and we know better. But we were starting to, it's us against them, and it's them against us, and that sort of thing, and that's not what God was calling us to. And so what I'm noticing is that when God calls you to a spiritual gift or spiritual work process, something that is of divine origin, like you said, there is going to be the test that turns into the testimony. Like what Bobbie said, to emphasize and re-emphasize, that mess becomes the message. So you heard it. You heard it from a dear friend, a awesome publisher, and just all of, just a patient educator, just so much. And also, as Sam would say, a beautiful wife. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bobbie, for just taking time out. And can you please take a moment to tell everyone, once again, your church, your book, your publishing company, just so that they can get a chance to jot that information down?
Absolutely. My church is Mount Olive Baptist Church. It's on Main Street in Sharpsburg, Pennsylvania. Of course, currently, right now, we are closed because of COVID-19. However, you can still find the fan page. We do have a fan page. Sam and I also run the fan page for the church, so you will certainly find some uplifting things. We've been replaying the Reverend Jones's his sermons and things from past years. So you'll still get, a spiritual lift, a spiritual boost whenever you need that. So find Mount Olive. I think he has it as Mount Olive of Sharpsburg. It's either Mount Olive of Sharpsburg or MOBC of Sharpsburg on Facebook. And I think we are also on Instagram, but I might have to check with him on that. But anyway, definitely Facebook for the church. You can find the hardback edition of Cooking Fun with Mrs Cubbage. It's available on Lulu.com. Paperback edition is available on Better Homes and Gardens, Martha Stewart, eBay, Goodreads, Parenting.com, and Amazon.com. It's also available on Kindle. You can also contact us on pandemicpp.com. We are also on all of the major social medias as pandemicpp. So you can find us as, pandemicpp, all the social medias. And on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, you can find us on blogtalkradio.com as the CCI radio show.
There you are. All right. Well, I just want to say thank you once again, Bobbie, for taking this time out. Yes. And listeners, thank you. Please do show your support. All of the information that Bobbie did share with us will be in the description box. So take a moment to click on those links. Thank you, and may God richly bless each and every one of you. Have a great day.